Nikki Rowland, and today I have a layout for Hip Kit Club. I'm using the absolutely beautiful December 2020 hip kits, very wintry and beautiful, and today I'm playing along with the Scraplift challenge, which is to scraplift that layout you just saw there by Missy. So I am going for a white background, but I wanted to bring in this beautiful like gingham checked paper. So if you look at Missy's layout, she has used a dark background and she has applied maybe white gesso all over the background, so it kind of gives a crosshatch effect. You know, she's got the brush strokes going both ways, so that was where I got the inspiration to use this check print from. So I've trimmed it right down. Actually I think I'm going to trim it down even further than what I have done already, but it's around about 10 by 10 I think, maybe slightly bigger. What I wanted to do was to put stitching onto the background. So I have stuck it to my background and I have added silver machine stitching through all the lines, or the main lines anyway, on the background. I've also cut a circle from the Northern Lights beautiful blue paper, the blue section of that paper, because Missy has a circle underneath her photo on her layout. So I've cut that and I've added some texture around the outside using pom-pom trim and some white tulle as well. So just to give it a bit of extra texture and dimension really. So I've added those in and I stitched those in place around the circle with my sewing machine as well. So yeah, so I've got some stitching in there. You might notice that I have two photos. Missy only has one. Of course, a Scraplift is only for inspiration. You don't have to copy it exactly. You can take inspiration from certain things. So I'm going to have my photos in the same kind of position. I'm going to have clusters either side, and I'm going to have a cluster down at the bottom, and I'm going to put my title in the same place too. So it has lots of similar characteristics to Missy's layout, whilst actually ended up looking nothing like it. So of course you don't even have to scraplift the design. You don't have to use a scraplift as a sketch effectively. I have done today, but you don't have to do that. You could, like for example from Missy's layout, you could just make a mixed media background and use that as your inspiration. Or you could take inspiration just from the flowers she's used and just have a floral layout. So you don't have to use it as a sketch. You can use it in any way you like to get inspiration from. So yeah. Okay, so I'm continuing on with my layout here. I'm putting together my clusters either side of that big circle that I've got there. So I've just mounted my photos onto some journaling cards and distressed the edges of those and getting those stuck in place. Because they were on top of some pom-poms, the layering wasn't quite right, the levels of the layout weren't quite right, so I just chopped off the pom-poms that are going to be under the photos so that they don't give me a big bump in my photos. So here I am now extending the clusters to the left and to the right of the photos. So I appreciate that my big cluster at the top is much wider than Missy's was, but I'm good with that, I'm fine with that. But I'm definitely adding some flowers and things over to the left hand side because Missy has that on her layout. I'm really pleased that you can see my circle at the bottom of the photos because you can see the circle on Missy's layout. I'm just extending my cluster down a little bit to the left hand side. Use those mitten icons as well as some flowers and leaves and the big snowflakes as well, cut from one of the pattern papers. I love those navy blue snowflakes. I think they're absolutely awesome. My favourite design I think this month. I've cut out loads of them and used them as embellishments. On one of my layouts I stitched them all as well, so yeah, lots of scope for those. They're definitely a really wonderful element. Okay, so just carrying on adding the flowers. I'm conscious that I've added some red flowers and I don't want this to be a Christmas layout. I want it to be a wintry layout because this is actually I think, oh, it might have been taken in December. It was December actually. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Yes, it was in December. I had a panic there because I've actually put a December label sticker on it. So, but yeah, it's definitely not Christmas. We were just at the zoo having fun running around. So yeah, just carrying on adding some clusters. Now I'm just adding some more of my silver thread twiddles behind the embellishments I've added in. So just putting those in place and securing them with some tape. Missy does twiddles a lot on her layouts. She's got tangles of thread in various places on her layout, so that's another way of bringing that in. Yeah, so my cluster at the bottom contains snowflakes and flowers, some wintry snow boots, and I'm going to add some label stickers there too. Right now I'm just conscious that I want to get my title in place, so I'm going to go for I see you. He was hiding behind a tree and then kept poking his head out. He looks these are really cute photos. I'm really happy I managed to capture this on camera. He looks so happy as well, and you know, he's 2, so quite often he's quite moody, so it's nice to see him smiling and having a really lovely funny time there. So yeah, I see you is the title for this layout, and I've used those fabulous silver stickers that we got in the kit, and I'm going to stitch through those with silver thread as well, just to make sure they don't go anywhere. It's the title is in the same place as Missy's title is too, so that's good. Just adding in my label stickers now. So at the bottom there I've added let's have some fun and December, and then I've got these ones on the photos. I've added happiness is made up of the little things, and then on the right hand side I've got filled with wonder. So they're all nice perfect sayings. I always find that the labels in the hip kits have really fab words on that just suit my life really well. So yeah, awesome. So just coming in now with a few of those white puffy stickers, and looking at some other snowflakes and bits and pieces, seeing if there basically is anything else that I can add onto this layout. I did actually find a chipboard tree earlier, which was ideal because obviously he's hiding behind a tree, so I've just added that in. I've got the snowman there as well, and I really liked this arrow sticker, but I couldn't fit that in, so I'm just going to kind of almost leave it there effectively. I want to add some white splatters of paint, because Missy has got white splatters on her layout, so I've just grabbed my painty thing and shaken some white paint drops all over the background around the clusters. Had to cover my photos so that I didn't get them everywhere, because these splatters don't always behave themselves. They end up all over the place, including usually all over me. I actually have a dedicated cardigan that I wear when I'm scrapbooking now, because it's covered in white paint splatters. Okay, so that is me finished. That's my layout complete. Make sure you head over to the Hip Kit Club group on Facebook to join in with this Scraplift challenge. It's a fabulous challenge, so much scope that you could do with this layout. Don't forget that if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price, 15% discount off all add-on kits, and access to exclusive subscriber cut files. So thank you very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.